Hey guys, it's Jen with Cards Done by Jen. Thanks for joining me. We are going to be making this cute and easy card today, and it uses just a cutout design for that heart. We're taking that from the front, and I'll show you how to do that. But let's see what we're going to be working with. We're using the Hearts of Elegance stamp set. We are also using the coordinating dies for the Hearts of Elegance. We're going to be using let me grab these here, the two heart cutouts. So grab those out and set those aside. That's all that we're going to be using of those dies. Let me grab the rest of this here. And we are going to be using Petal Pink, Real Red, and Basic White. This really is an easy card. I had some of this DSP left from previous year. I think it's Be Mine. And it actually talks about what the coordinating colors are in there. I am colorblind, so this is very helpful for me, and I use the back of that all the time. So here's the DSP patterns that are inside of this. I bought extra of this, and we're using these two that I'm pointing out here for you. We're going to use those two. So grab one of each of those out. You will find all of the dimensions on my blog. I'll have them listed for you. I went ahead and cut these so that you're not waiting for me to cut them. But for the Petal Pink, it's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4.25. We're just going to burnish that. You have your small pieces. Well, here's your basic white piece. That's 4.75 by 3.5 for your inside piece. The Real Red is going to be 3.75 by 3.75. The basic white piece is going to be 3.5 by 3.5. And then you have your 3 pieces of DSP and then 2 pieces of the striped DSP. So we're going to start first by adhering those larger pieces, the fatter pieces, I guess you call them wider, not fatter. We're going to add that to that 3.5 by 3.5 piece of basic white. I always start with the top one first. I like to use the liquid glue because it gives me just a little bit more control. When I'm putting it down, I don't always get things lined up, and it gives me just a half second to kind of switch things around and get it lined up. After you do the top and the bottom, now it's best to go in and do that middle piece. If you get this a little crooked, do not worry about it. Again, we're going to be cutting a heart out of this, so it doesn't have to be exact. Get that situated. Okay, now we're going to get that smaller striped piece. And you do want to apply glue across the whole length of it, because we are then going to be cutting this out with that heart. So those little pieces need to be adhered. I'll put the last one on now. When I did this, I realized that I put it into the die cutter, the embossing machine, immediately. It is best to leave this, and I'm adding this later, it is best to leave this dry for a few minutes before you push this through your die cutting machine, because it is going to squeeze. It uses so much pressure that it's going to squeeze a little bit of that glue around. So we're going to use that larger heart, head over to the die cutting machine, and we are going to go ahead and cut that out of the middle of that piece. And I know it seems kind of silly to cut a middle out of that piece, but it does look really cute when you put it on the inside of the card. If you don't have those heart dies, use any heart dies that you have. So you will see here that it did get a little gluey because I put it in too soon. I should have left it sit for a few minutes, but nobody wants to watch me just have that sit for a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some glue to the back of that, and we are going to center that onto our Real Red square. Cute, right? So easy. Uses just scrap DSP that you have if you don't have like full pieces. It's just perfect. And then that's going to get adhered onto your card front in the center. If you want to switch it up, you can always put it upper or lower and then add something special. You will see some on the blog, you will see some other designs that I made using the same process, same technique. And then we are going to die cut out of the basic white that small heart. This one we're going to stamp on. So let me grab the real red ink, and we're going to do that, the XOXO out of that Hearts of Elegance. Get this onto the block. And grab the ink. And we're just going to put that right onto. And if you don't want to use the XOXO, use whatever you have. Use whatever you have. And that was the real red. So we are going to adhere this heart onto the front of our cardstock. Or I'm sorry, onto the front of our card base using a dimensional. If you haven't used dimensionals before, they're adhesive, but it's on like a foam piece, so it pops up your image. There you go. We're just going to offset that there. All right. And now on our inside piece, we are going to adhere your cut out card, but let's put our, I never like to stamp a sentiment after I have glued my inside piece in. I like to stamp first, stick second. That way, if we mess it up, we can always just replace that basic white piece of paper and not have to replace your whole card. But if you do mess it up, they make this stuff called Undo, and it is great. I've used it a lot. All right, super. So let's go ahead and adhere this in. Okay, so we stick that in. Perfect. Just a reminder, anytime that you're using red inks or the espresso inks, give it a little bit of extra time to dry. We're just going to glue our heart, our cutout heart in, and that's going to go right on the inside, just like that. How easy is that? It looks like it's hard, but it's so simple. So you can do this with any design, but thank you so much for joining me. Oh, wait, hold on. I have some extras. Take a look at that one. And this one I made into just a little note, because I didn't need that many XO cards. And let's just add some gems. You know, you're never really quite finished. Just going to add those basic rhinestones. You can color those if you want. Did you know that you can color those with the Stampin' Blends? Alcohol markers, you can color those with alcohol markers. But there you go. And there's our final touch. So thanks for joining me. Again, you can find all of the dimensions over on my blog. Happy stamping!